Hello, Internet! I'm Elliot the Purple Hair Doofus, and welcome back to The Gunslinger by Stephen King. Today we're covering the chapter The Oracle in the Mountains. I hope you've read that chapter because I do not want to ruin anything for you. The story starts out with Roland and Jake continuing through the desert and finding an oasis. They decide to set up camp there and recoup, re-energize, drink water, just become healthy in general before they decide to venture out farther into the desert after the Man in Black. While they're there, Roland dreams of a lost love that died, and how everyone that he meets has died. And they're all telling him that this boy is bad news. This boy is going to end in his own death. And this boy is just not good for his well-being. Roland wakes up from this dream and finds that the boy, Jake, has wandered off. And he finds Jake in this sacred circle in the oasis, where these winds are gasping up, and he finds that Jake is actually still asleep inside the sacred circle. And the winds have voices that are talking to him. Roland grabs the boy, drags him back to camp, and ties him to a tree. The next morning, both of them wake up, and the boy is like, "Why am I tied to a tree?" And Roland says, "You were sleepwalking." And he says, "Oh, was I really?" And the boy says, "So what are you gonna do now?" And Roland says, "I'm gonna get high on LSD, and you're gonna sit there." And the boy says, "Oh, okay." And Roland gives him the jawbone and says, "If you ever get scared, just grab onto the jawbone." And Jake says, okay, I will. And Roland swallows the LSD and is off. Roland, high as a kite, gets to the sacred circle and meets the Oracle, which is a wind spirit. And the wind spirit starts talking to him and telling him about his journey. And the wind spirit says, if you leave this journey now, if you disband everything that you're working towards and just go off and live your own life, you'll live a long, happy life. But if you continue down this path, it's going to bring you nothing but pain and darkness. But if you do continue down this path, here are the people that you need to meet in order to achieve your goals. And this is kind of brilliant. This is how you set up a journey. This is how you set up something. It's not, don't do this. It's, this is going to hurt you, but if you want to do it, here's how you do it. Because a lot of books that I read are like, here's how to do this, but don't do this. And the people are like, I'm going to do this. And it's stupid. But this book says, this journey is going to be bad for you. But if you're going to continue on anyways, like we both know that you are, here's how you do it. And so the Oracle tells him that in order to get to the Dark Tower, he's going to need 3 people. The first one, now these are not explicitly said in the book, but this is just my assumption. The first one is a heroin junkie. The second one is a woman in a wheelchair. And the third one is the dark man that he is after right now, the Man in Black. And the boy, Jake, is integral to his path. He needs the boy Jake as kind of a guide or a key or a map, something like that. Roland says, "Thank you for all your information, goodbye," and he goes back to Jake. Grabs up Jake, and they go along their way, and they start discussing where they're from. And Jake starts saying, you know, I'm from a place where kids go to school, stuff like that. Roland says, I'm from a land where we had a war. We won all of our battles, at least my side did, but no one actually won the war because it ended in this. And he kind of gestures towards the dystopian world. Relevant. They continue climbing, and the boy comes across a footprint, which is actually the footprint of the Man in Black. He tries to hide it from Roland, and he says, we should go back. We shouldn't continue any further. Roland says, why are you scared? And we both know why he's scared, and they continue going, and they run into the Man in Black. And the Man in Black is actually a very cheerful dude. He's like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Come here. And I'm like, I like this guy. I like the Man in Black way more than I like Roland. This shouldn't be right. Roland goes down to meet the Man in Black, but the boy, Jake, stays behind because he's afraid. And Roland goes up to the Man in Black, and the Man in Black says, I'm going to go this way. If you want to follow, follow alone. If you don't want to follow, go back to your boy. I don't care. And Roland has to make the decision to leave the boy or follow the Man in Black. I believe he's going through a portal, or I believe he's going to another world. That's where the story ends. The question that I have for you today is, if you were faced with that, what decision would you make? Question that I had last video was, what was a formative childhood memory that kind of formed who you are today? Funnily enough for me, it also has to do with Stephen King. I was a kid, Summer Olympics were on, no one in my family liked sports, but it was all that was on TV because we didn't have cable, we only had the national broadcast. And I go into my parents' room and they say, we're gonna watch a movie. And I'm like, okay, let's watch a movie. How that gonna be? And they're like, turn on the movie and all these names start coming up and they're all like, you know, comedians of TV shows that I like. And I was like, hey, that guy's from Three Company. Oh, hey, that guy's from Night Court. Oh, hey, I like that lady. Oh, hey, that person's funny. And then it's like Stephen King's It. I'm like, hey, Stephen King's not funny. What are we watching? And I sat and I watched It with him. He kind of messed me up. I told that story to one of my friends and he was like, no wonder you're as messed up as you are. I was like, yeah, I know. It's my mom's fault. Do not forget that the next book that I will be reading is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Go out and grab it by any legal means necessary. Borrow it from a friend, borrow it from the library, buy it at a bookstore, buy it on a Kindle. I don't care what you do as long as it's legal and you read it before I ruin it for you. I've been Elliot the Purple Hair Davis reminding you to watch your Pajama Radius, and I will see you all in the next story of The Gunslinger by Stephen King. Toodles!